There is a plague that has been transmitted in this country for years. Many people suffer from it and don't even know it. You could be a carrier of this epidemic. Here are a few symptoms: drug abuse, dropping out of high school, imprisonment, and even suicide. It's the father deficiency, the most needed vitamin in America. It's also the title of a book written by Frank Stewart, providing 29 tools needed to overcome growing up without a good father. Visit fatherdeficiency.org to order your copy or call 501-329-2055.
Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock, and now Pastor Stewart.
Greetings in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ. So glad you can join us today as we try to wrap this up. And we started on last week talking about regret and disappointment and how powerful that is and how devastating that is to the soul. We introduced a word that I think is a very powerful word that is used in the Bible only one time in the King James Version, and that is in Nahum 2:2, the emptiers. And this is one of the deceptions, one of the greater deceptions that's been happening, and I believe that is happening even more now, straight from the pit of hell, is that Satan wants to empty us out. And how do you do that? Well, anything you can empty out, if you fill it full of something else, it automatically pushes out what was in there. If you got a glass that was full of water, you start putting sand in, that sand is going to push the water out. You don't want to put dirt in, it absorbs the water. Still got water in it, but there are some chemicals you can use that once it is, or material you can use, that once it goes in, completely empties everything out. I want to talk about, on this Friday, I want to talk about Joseph. I want to finish up with Joseph. I read to you what is said about Joseph, his destiny. He's described as a fruitful vine by well. His branches run over the wall. Man, that's some beautiful symbolism that speaks to the life of Joseph, how he cannot be hedged in, blocked in, stopped. And the reason why that is because he's hooked up to the well, and the well is he's hooked up to God himself. So you can try to imprison him, you can build a wall around it, and he will go over the wall. So Joseph, the emptiers tried to empty out what was in him. Now, you know he had a coat of many colors, and that was taken from him. They thought they took from him his birthright, took from him his purpose, his destiny, and so on. We talked about that on yesterday. You know, today we're talking about how Potiphar looked at Joseph and saw he could use what Joseph had. Now, he didn't want to embrace his God. This is very important for us to understand. I don't want to embrace your God. I want to embrace your talents. And the one thing we must understand, that is a very dangerous place to be, because there are many people that have talent. They have talent, but they do not have a conviction about God. Matter of fact, they don't even know him. You can be in church all your life and not know God. So to have talent and ability, but know God. So that's like having gifts and talents, but not having the fruit of the Spirit. Now, the only thing that's going to get us in heaven is fruit. It's not going to be gifts or talents. That won't get us there. It's going to be fruit. So talent is talented people are a dime a dozen. Talent is everywhere. Everybody that God created with gifts and talents. So, but the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, and from that comes all those attributes of mercy and peace and goodness and kindness and gentleness and so on. So Joseph had a talent, and Potiphar used it, not for Joseph, but for his benefit, to promote his kingdom. Now, the enemy tried to take a little further to try to get Joseph to sleep with Potiphar's wife, because then you get deeper into control. He already got him physically. There's always a physical, he's physically enslaved. Now, sleep with Potiphar's wife, you're spiritually enslaved. That's what he really wants. Not just to kill and destroy. I mean, not just he comes to steal and kill, but the ultimate goal is to destroy. To destroy. And brothers and sisters, let me tell you that the devil himself has made backslidden so-called church members, backslidden false preachers, false prophets. He has made them into bombs to explode and kill many that are ignorant, to destroy many that do not know God. You got to hear what I'm telling you.
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242. That's Simple Give.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
You got to hear what I'm telling you. On next week, we're going to talk about end time. We try to talk about that once a month because it's paramount, because we're living in the last days. So now it's not enough just for him to be physically a slave. He wants to spiritually enslave Joseph. Spiritually enslave him. Satan does. All right? She lies on Joseph because he will not bend. He will not bow. See, they remove him out of his environment, but he still has enough God. I love that. Because there's some people, when they get away from home, or they're away from people that know them, and there's no church people around, they do the most sinful things. Because they're not serving God, they're serving people. They have a relationship with people. They have a relationship with we would say church building. They have a relationship with denomination. They have a relationship with the position they hold, but they don't have a relationship with God. Because if they had a relationship with God, we're commanded to love the Lord, our God, with all our heart, our soul, our might, our strength, everything within us. And that doesn't waver because I'm out of the presence of somebody I know. See, that doesn't waver because I'm at home and on my computer and I can look at all the pornography I want to look at because no one see me. Well, when you have a relationship with God, you know he sees you and you don't want to hurt him. So when we talk about what is trying to be made of Joseph, Joseph talks about his God. Now there's an effort to make him into a hypocrite, a person that talks but lives nothing. So now she lies on him. He this is pretty powerful. He's already a slave physically, so she lies on him and put him in prison. If he got hung up on his physical, he got hung up on just the little freedom that he had and willing to sell his soul, he could have kept that. He could have kept that. And as the Bible says about Moses, he could enjoy it. He could enjoy sin for a season. But he chose not to. So now he goes to prison. He spends his time in prison. He meets the butcher and the baker, the butler and the baker. I'm sorry. He meets them, and then he finds his way into the palace. Watch what Pharaoh does. Pharaoh changes his name. That's right. Now, Joseph maintained his name because his name represented who he was, but he changes his name. See, what that thing is, to get everything that is good out of you, to get your identity out of you, so we can make you into what we want you to be. You're not a child of God. You're a player now. Got to hear what I'm telling you. It is to empty out what's in you, to pour junk in you, And many times we don't even know who we are. We have to understand that when the Bible talks about double-minded people, double-minded, having two minds, trying to play two different games, very dangerous situation to be in. Because that spiritual double-mindedness can become physical double-mindedness, and we call that being bipolar. Not that sanctification ran you crazy, but it will crack you up to try to live in the world and still try to kneel at the throne of God. You cannot serve God and Mammoth. So I want you to see that. Now this is some heavy stuff. Some heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. But there are many people that have been emptied. They're not even who they used to be. They're imposters. They started with being double-minded, but now that other mind has completely and totally taken over. We see that. I want you to understand that. Understand what's happening. So there's always an effort. Satan has an effort to cultivate those that God would use most in the kingdom. And if he can't cultivate it, he'll kill it. He wants to kill it. But his first thing is, let me see if I can use this. Use the influence. You see what I'm saying? Influence. Because once God has blessed you to attain to a certain level, a certain height, then there's influence that comes with it. There's influence that comes with it. And what he wants to do, which is a huge weapon, is to make you go against what you have said, what you have believed, and to make you look like a hypocrite. All the time you was talking about thou shalt not, and being so dogmatic about it without any grace, without any mercy, being like the Pharisees with stones in your hand, trying to kill anybody for anything, gagging at a gnat, swallowing a camel with stones in your hand, and then you yourself are found guilty of what you wanted to stone other people for. He wants to use that. He wants to use that. And that's why David, Psalms 51 is a coming completely clean so he can be healed. We talked about Tamar. The advice that was given her was very, very bad advice. Very bad advice. And because of this bad advice that was given her, she remained desolate in the house of her brother. Wow. That is heartbreaking. So I want you to stay with us as we talk about this. Hopefully, this might be the last week. We might go into another week. But for sure, we must talk about the coming of the Lord. And I want to show you how all this fits in to what we're seeing going on in the world, what's happening, and what we call Christianity, which is not Christianity, but it is Satan's weapon. It is a duplication. And it's nothing that we should be shocked over, because Paul tells us completely, honestly, clearly, that Satan himself has transformed himself into an angel of light. So it's no wonder that he has false apostles and false prophets and false teachers.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. At our Conway location, Morning Glory begins at 10 a.m. Sunday school begins at 10:30 a.m. Worship service begins at 11:30 a.m. On Thursday, our Bible class begins at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 Indian Street in Conway, and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.